Okay, so I'm gonna actually have to do this video again because for whatever reason, when I shut it the first time, my microphone was off. I don't know how that even happened. So this is completely off topic from anything I normally do. This is not keto. This is not working out. This is not coaching. This is about something that has touched our family, everybody's family, I think, for the most part. What I'm going to talk about is the absolute epidemic of suicide that is within people under 30. Not just in the U.S. This is worldwide. This is a crazy scenario that we're dealing with here. I have raised 4 children that are all in that time frame, all in that under 30 category. Um, the what's that, Gen Y, I guess it is. Um, so so here's, I guess, what I want to talk about. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist, or a psychiatrist or any of those things. So, I have personally never dealt with depression. Yeah, sure, everybody gets sad. That's not the same thing as depression. So I personally have never dealt with it, and I will also tell you that the concept of suicide for me personally is so foreign. Like, I could not even imagine getting there. I'm just so vain and love myself so much that for me the concept is so, like, I would literally rather, you know, kill anybody than me, So, and that's, I'm not being funny or glib. I'm just telling you like the way my head works. So for me the concept is crazy that you would even consider it, but I do understand how it gets there. So here's what I'm going to ask. And again, I want to be clear. I'm not being funny or flip or anything. I'm not, because this has touched my family in ways that are just. All 4 of my children have been touched by this. They know someone. All 4 of my children know at least one person. My wife and I have someone that we know. Actually, 2. We know 2 that I can think of, and the one in particular was a accidental shooting while cleaning a firearm. Was more than likely suicide, and my wife and I still have trouble talking about him in that situation. So, it's so that's what I'm getting to is before you make this incredibly devastating decision, take a minute and just for a minute consider all of the people, even if it's just one person that you're going to leave behind who's going to be devastated. And here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Ask yourself if you're willing, and no, I don't want to say that. That's the wrong way to say that. But ask yourself if you're willing to leave other people in the same place mentally that you are right now because of an act that you did. Right? So you are potentially creating a situation where the people who care about you are going to be just as depressed or just as whatever that you are, right? So consider that, right? That you're going to leave behind people, and sometimes it's not just that they're sad that you're gone. Sure, that's true. Often it's the just raw guilt of them not knowing that you were that bad, that you were that close, that you had made even considered that decision. Oftentimes, it's just so buried deep that nobody even saw it. So there's a lot of guilt there. So here's my next thing that I'll say, and again, this is just common sense kind of, off the cuff things that, just an old ball coach, will say. I hear often that there was no one there to help them. And that could very well be true in many cases. However, what I will say too is that sometimes, in order to get help, it is unfortunately your responsibility to stick your hand out and reach for the rail and reach for the help and grab for the life preserver, right? That is just simply how life works. Now, I would say it is going to be pretty rare that anyone has literally not one single person they could speak to. If you're anywhere near 30, then you're normally looking at a wife, an ex-wife, a husband, an ex-husband, so ex-spouse, maybe a child, a sibling, parent, clergy, a teacher, right? Anybody, a coach, somebody who is willing to listen. And even if they don't understand, and they won't, odds are they won't actually understand, but you're at least unloading that burden for a short while. Allowing someone else into that tunnel that you seem to be stuck in. No, they're probably not going to help you dig out, not if they're not a professional, but they can at least make you feel a little less alone while you're in there. So my recommendation is, when you take that, few seconds that I'm asking you to take before you make what is really an absolute final decision, and you think about who it is that you would leave behind that's going to just be devastated, that's probably the person you should reach out to. And I'm not laughing. I sometimes kind of sort of laugh when I'm nervous or when I'm upset. So that's kind of what this is. I mean, this upsets me greatly in a way I can't explain. Again, my wife and I have a situation that we still struggle to talk about with someone, and I mean, I've seen this just destroy all four of my children at different points in their lives with people that they, just, and it's almost always that, they feel just this burden of guilt because they didn't know, they didn't see it. So, and I do get that, most people who are clinically depressed wear a mask, all the time. They nobody knows, because they feel so alone, and they don't want to share it with anybody. So that's what I guess I'm saying is, good God, share it with somebody. Pick somebody, anybody. Hell, go to a barber, a bartender, something, and just talk to them. Speak, get it out there. Trust me, in today's day and age, there is absolutely nothing that you have that's weighing you down that somebody hasn't heard before. There was a, so I'm 52, so I'm Gen X. I'm on the top edge of Gen X. Our generation, we were raised by either baby boomers or baby boomer 2 generation, and believe me, they had no patience for anything like this. I'm actually shocked that our generation didn't have a much higher rate of suicide, because we weren't allowed to talk about anything. If you went to your parents and said, this is bothering me, they'd slap you in the head and send you on your way until you buck up and get to work, right? It was just how it was. And so trust me, I'm not wishing for the bad old days. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is that because of that, it makes it really difficult sometimes for my generation to understand this particular affliction is what I'm going to call it. It's tough for us to get it. You know, it's not that we don't want to. It's not that we don't care. It's just really difficult. You know, it's just the way our minds work is just different. You know, because we were trained to think differently. So it becomes complicated for us. That's also why, hey, look, man, you know, our parents' generation, the alcoholism was outrageous. Honestly, even in the Gen X, you know, alcoholism and a lot of, you know, especially marijuana use, that stuff's really, really high in my generation. And most of it's self-medicating from, you know, depression, right, that we weren't allowed to talk about. So I guess what I'm saying is that, and by the way, I'm not going to say, well, I'm going to say it because I think it's stupid, and I'm going to tell you it's stupid. One of the stupidest things I ever hear is, well, nothing could be that bad. That's just stupid. Of course something could be that bad, or you wouldn't be considering it. Obviously there's things that are that bad. I mean, that's just dumb, right? There's all kinds of psychological trauma that can be that bad. I hate when people say that stupid shit. The other one I hate, and this is off topic, but I hate when people say, well, if I can do it, you can do it. No, that's stupid. That's not true. There's lots of shit this guy can do that you can't do. It's just dumb. I hate dumb shit like that. So back to, you know, the where I'm at. I mean, to say it saddens me is not enough. You know, and it sounds like a Hallmark card. I'm not looking for that. So I started coaching in the 90s sometime, late 90s, mid to late 90s. I've coached a lot of kids, right? A lot of kids. And I've seen a few of these kids, you know, over the years that are former players that have also been in this situation and have unfortunately gone that direction. I wouldn't say a lot, but a few. So I guess what I'm saying is, you know, man, find anybody that you can just talk to and be honest right up front. I mean, I know that seems crazy, but I think we're in a world where that's okay now. You know, I mean, if you've got a friend that you really that is a good friend, or a sibling, or a child that you know, or a mother or father or whatever, you know, that you talk to every day or almost every day, and you've talked to them about just crazy shit that you can't believe you talked to anybody else about, then you really need to open that conversation with, I've been thinking about killing myself. Just jump right into it. And I promise you, right? And I also know that the one thing that most people in that situation are not looking for, and the reason they don't want to talk about it with people, is because the first thing they're going to get is the "oh, honey," and what can I do, and the you know, the kind of condescending shit, because they aren't depressed and they don't understand depression. So it's going to be rough, other than going to an actual therapist, to find somebody who's not going to say those things. Just kind of how we're trained as people, to immediately try to console rather than listen, right? So again, my secondary recommendation is to just cut them off at the knees right there. If you've blurted this out already, right, now just cut them off and go, hey, that's not what I need. I literally just need you to listen. And I'm going to guarantee you that person's going to listen. Right? They're going to be sad for you. They're going to be a little sad for themselves. But ultimately, you're going to be in a better place. Right? So, I'll wrap this up as quick and simple as I can with telling you the same thing I said before. Just consider, you know, what you're going to leave behind and who you're going to leave behind, and the wake of devastation that you're going to leave behind, because it is. And I understand that whatever it is that and I know it's not one thing most of the time. Normally, it's not just one thing. I know we've, really cut back on all the bullying and all of those things, and I know that makes everybody feel good. But I mean, realistically, I would venture to bet that a really high percentage of these suicides are much more from a clinical depression standpoint and very little to do with bullying or any of those things. I'm not saying those things aren't a factor. I'm just saying I don't think they're as big of a factor as we've kind of made them out to be. I mean, there was just a girl here recently in the St. Louis area, scholar athlete, on the right track, popular kid, wasn't being bullied, no issues like that, and took her own life. When I saw it on the news, just slack jaw, right? Like, you just can't believe it. So, I think there's a whole host of factors that we can get into that are creating these situations. For one thing, you take like my oldest son, who's not quite 30. He was in the service. We've got a whole host of people in that age range who are coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq and carrying a whole lot of different baggage with them from that. I understand that that's a large percentage of this as well. And I also, from family members that were my dad's age, understand that that's just not something that's easy for them to deal with or talk about. So that's a whole other thing. I think I'm more really gearing this toward the teenage aspect of it that I see, because it's just it's not just devastating, mentally to me and everybody around them, but it's devastating to the human race, right? That we're allowing this to continue, that we're not trying to fix this. Now, again, I am going to point out, this is some bit of my age. I mean, there is a little bit of a pull yourself up by the bootstraps situation here, a little bit. I mean, again, my opinion is that, I don't think it's an opinion, I think it's fact, that on occasion, when you need help, you have to make the first move and reach. So that's what I'm going to end this with today. If you even for a second have ever even almost thought about doing this, man, figure out who you need to talk to. I don't care who it is. I'm not shitting. Like I said before, start seeing somebody about your hair or your nails and talk to them. Who cares? Your barber. Talk to your dentist, whoever. It doesn't matter. Your boss, somebody you work with. Man, get it out there, right? Because we're not in that world anymore. They're not going to come and lock you up, right? They're not going to come and throw you on medication immediately, right? Those days are over, right? This is a clinical depression is a pretty common issue these days, and instead of hiding it because there's just no reason, and I don't give a shit if your parents don't understand. That's fine. They don't have to understand, right? This is your life. This is you. If you don't think your parents can understand, then don't talk to them. I promise you one of your friends will understand. Guaranteed. And again, most of the time you just need somebody to hear you, to listen. They don't have to understand it. They just have to hear it. All right, so that's what I have today. I normally end with, keep working, you'll get there. That is definitely not the right ending for this today. I honestly don't know how to wrap this up other than to say, I don't know. I really don't. I'll see you guys next time.